Nityananda Sri Ram Sri Gaura Vrinda Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Yada Namaha Yeah, that's
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we will continue with the compilation of the Sri Krishna Chaitanya book. Today the chapter is entitled as Svarūpa Damodar points out the offense of the poet and provides him the remedy. Part 1. Under the section, how Pradyumna Mishra received instruction from Ramananda Rai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila 5.112. Lord Sloka Garuda-Dashya Viprakrita Slok. Supreme Personality of Godhead has assumed a golden complexion and has become the soul of the body named Lord Jagannath, whose blooming lotus eyes are widely expanded. Thus, he has appeared in Jagannath Puri and brought dull matter to life. May that Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dev bestow all his blessings upon him. Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila 5.102. স্বরূপ ব্যতীত সকলের প্রশংসা শ্লোক শুনি সরবর ইসলাম করে when everyone present heard the verse, they all condemned the poet. Commended the poet. But Sridhar Dāmodara Goswami requested him, kindly explain this verse. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila 5.112. লোক কবির শুদ্ধ ভক্তি সিদ্ধান্ত বিরুদ্ধ দোষ কবি কহে জগন্নাথ সুন্দর শরীর চৈতন্য গোসাই said Lord Jagannath is a most Lord Jagannath is a most beautiful body, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is exceptionally great, is the honor of that body. Prepared by his divine Yeshua Prabhupada, Shariri refers to a person who owns the Sharira, or body, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 2.13, Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yata tata dehantara prapto devas tatrana vidyati. as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. For the ordinary living being in the material existence, there is a division or distinction between the body and the honor of the body. In spiritual existence, however, there is no such distinction, for the body is the honor himself, and the honor is the body itself. In spiritual existence, everything must be spiritual. Therefore, no distinction between the body and its honor.
Because the heart saw the distinction between Bhagavad and Lord Chaitanya.
Because the poet saw a distinction between Lord Jagannath's body and Lord Chaitanya,
He was committing Bhagavad.
he was pointing at that.
He was comparing Lord Jagannath like an ordinary entity.
He was comparing Lord Jagannath like an Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Leela 5.
সহজে চেতন করাইতে চলে
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared here in Nilachal Jagannath Puri to spiritualize the entire biomaterial world. Chaitanya Charitamrita Leela 5.16. সকলের হর্ষ হইলেও জগৎগুরু বৈষ্ণব আচার্য শ্রী স্বরূপের ক্রোধ ও শাস্ত্র সিদ্ধান্ত রশিধারা কুমত ছেদনরূপ দ্বারা দুঃখ পাইয়া স্বরূপ কহে সক্রোধ Hearing this, everyone present was greatly happy. The Swarup Dāmodara, who alone was very unhappy, began to speak in great anger. Chaitanya Charitamrita until 5.174. ক্রোধের কারণ নির্দেশ এক বিস্মৃত জীব বুদ্ধি নিরজনক হারে মূর্খ আপনা সর্বনাশ ঈশ্বর তো বিশ্বাস You are a fool, he said. You have brought ill fortune upon yourself, for you have no knowledge of the existence of the two lords Jagannath Dev and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, nor have you faith in them. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Leela 5. পূর্ণানন্দ চিৎসরে করিলে Lord Jagannath is completely spiritual and full of transcendental bliss, but you have compared him to a dull, destructible body composed of the inner external energy of the Lord. Put by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. If one thinks that the form of Lord Jagannath is an idol made of wood, he immediately brings ill fortune into his life. According to the direction of the Padma Purana, Arche Vishnu Shila Dihi, Yaseva Naraki Saha. Anyone who considers the deity in the temple to be made of stone or wood is a resident of hell. Thus, one who thinks that the body of Lord Jagannath is made of matter and who distinguishes between Lord Jagannath's body and his soul is condemned, for he is an offender. A pure devotee who knows the science of Krishna consciousness makes no distinction between Lord Jagannath and his body. He knows that they are identical, just as Lord Krishna and his soul are one and the same. When one's eyes are purified by devotional service performed on the spiritual platform, one can actually envision Lord Jagannath and his body as being completely spiritual. The advanced devotee, therefore, does not see the worshipable deity as having a soul within a body like an ordinary human being. There is no distinction between the body and the soul of Lord Jagannath, for Lord Jagannath is Sachidananda Vigraha, just as the body of Krishna is Sachidananda Vigraha. There is actually no difference between Lord Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ignorant poet from Bengal applied a material distinction to the body of Lord Jagannath. Sri Jagannath.
Exciting. Exciting. Chaitanya from a spiritual point of view.
So Svarūpa Dāmodara Goswami is saying, seeing distinction between the body of Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya.
Because the man is completely spiritual.
He says that there should not see distinction between the body of Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya because they are completely spiritual.
So therefore, this is why Chaitanya had asked for Chaitanya to have the quality of course.
So therefore, Lord Chaitanya have asked Svarūpa Dāmodara to check the poetry at first. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila 5.119.
সরৈশ্বর্য চৈতন্য তারে ক্ষুদ্র
Has calculated Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, fill in six opulences to be on the level of an ordinary living being. Instead of knowing him as the Supreme Fire, you have accepted him as a spark. Taught by his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the Upanishads, it is said the living entities are like sparks of fire, and his Lordship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is considered the original great fire. When we hear this Shruti Vakya or message from the Vedas, we should understand the distinction between the Supreme Lord Krishna and the living entities. A person under the control of the external energy, however, cannot understand that distinction. Such a person cannot understand that the Supreme Person is the original great fire, whereas the living entities are simply small fragmental part of that Supreme Personality of Godhead. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Amai Vamsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manashashtani Indriyani Prakriti Stani Karshati. The living entities in the conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. There is a distinction between the body and the soul of materially existing living being. But because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath do not possess material bodies, there is no distinction between their bodies and souls. On the spiritual platform, body and soul are identical. There is no distinction between them. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.11.38, this is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature. even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord cannot be influenced by the material qualities. His Lordship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is unaffected by the His Lordship, the Supreme Personality for Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is unaffected by the influence of the three modes of material nature. Indeed, his devotees are also unpolluted by the influence of the external energy because they engage in the service of his Lordship. Even the very body of a devotee becomes spiritualized, just as an iron rod put into fire becomes as qualified as fire because it becomes red hot and will immediately burn anything it touches. Therefore, the poet from Bengal committed Therefore, the poet from Bengal committed a great offense by treating Lord Jagannath's body and Lord Jagannath, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as two different entities, material and spiritual, as if the Lord were an ordinary living being. The Lord is always the master of the material energy. Therefore, he is not doomed to be covered by the material energy like ordinary living.
The conditioned soul is a small spiritual spark,
The conditioned soul is a small spiritual spark,
and it has a material body,
and it has a material body.
five gross elements,
It is made of five gross elements,
another subbody of three total elements,
and another subtle body of three subtle elements.
but the Supreme Personality is totally Satchidananda.
But the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is totally Sachidananda.
He does not have any material body.
He does not have any material body. The Mayavadi impersonalists
I think that Krishna has taken a body in order of this.
think that Krishna has taken a body in the mode of goodness.
So they're coming this offense.
So they are committing this offense.
So he's the Dāmodara Goswami accusing the poet from Bengal of making the same offense.
So Dāmodara Goswami is accusing the poet from Bengal of making the same offense. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antralila 5.120.
অক্ষরগানী তর্কপন্থী সিদ্ধান্ত অনভিজ্ঞের কৃষ্ণ বর্ণন চেষ্টা দুঃসাহসিকতা বৈঠাই তোরা পাই দুর্গতি তত্ত্বজ্ঞ তার গতি
Svarūpa Dāmodara continued, because you have committed an offense to Lord Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you will attain a hellish destination. You do not know how to describe the absolute truth, but nevertheless, you have tried to do so, therefore, you must be condemned. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, His Divinely Srila Prabhupada. The Brahmana poet from Bengal was an offender in the estimation of Svarūpa Dāmodara Goswami. For although the poet had no knowledge of the absolute truth, he had nevertheless tried to describe it. The Bengali poet was an offender to both Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath, because he had made a distinction between Lord Jagannath's body and his soul, and because he had indicated that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was different from Lord Jagannath, he had committed offenses to them both. A Tattvajna refers to one who has no knowledge, Atatvajna, or Atatvajna, not Atatvajna. Atatvajna refers to one who has no knowledge of the absolute truth or who worships his own body as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. If an Anghara Upasaka Mayavadi, a person engaged in fruitive activities, or a person interested only in sense gratification describes the absolute truth, he immediately becomes an offender.
To describe the absolute truth, one has to be
To describe the absolute truth, one has to be
a tattva.
a tattva,
A person who knows the absolute truth.
a person who knows the absolute truth.
If he doesn't know, then he is bound to commit offense.
If he doesn't know, he is bound to commit offense.
Trying to describe the absolute truth.
If he tries to describe the absolute truth.
Thinking about the absolute truth is like a conditioned soul.
He thinks that the absolute truth is like a conditioned soul. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antyalila 5.121.
দুই ঈশ্বরের দেহ দেহি ভেদ নির্দেশক অপরাধী প্রমাদ আর হচ্ছে দেহ ঈশ্বরের
In complete illusion, for you have distinguished between the body and soul of this Lordship, Lord Jagannath, or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is a great offense. Taught by his divine wisdom, that when one differentiates between the body and the soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he immediately becomes an offender. Because the living entities in the material world are generally covered by the material body, the body and the soul of an ordinary human being cannot be identical. The Supreme Lord bestows the fruits of one's activities, for he is the Lord of the results of fruitive action. He is also the cause of all causes, and he is the master of the material energy. Therefore, he is supreme. An ordinary living being, however, in his material condition, experiences the results of his own fruitive activities and therefore falls under their influence. Even in the liberated stage of Brahma Bhuta identification, he engages in rendering service to his lordship. Thus, there are distinctions between the ordinary human being and the Supreme Lord. Karmis and Jnanis who ignore these distinctions are offenders against the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. An ordinary human being is prone to be subjugated by the material energy, whereas his Lordship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna or Lord Jagannath, is always the master of the material energy and is therefore never subject to its influence. His Lordship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is an unlimited spiritual identity, never to be broken, whereas the consciousness of the living entity is limited and fragmented. The living entities are fragmental portions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead eternally. Amaivamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. It is not that they are covered by the material energy in conditioned life, but become one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and freed from the influence of material energy. Such an idea is offensive. According to the consideration of the Mayavadi fools, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts a material body when he appears in the material world. A Vaishnava, however, knows perfectly well that for Krishna, Lord Jagannath, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, unlike for ordinary human beings, there is no distinction between the body and the soul. Even in the material world, his lordship retains his spiritual identity. Therefore, Lord Krishna exhibited all opulences, even in his childhood body. There is no distinction between the body and the soul of Krishna, whether he is in his childhood body or his youthful body. is always identical with his body. Even though Krishna appears like an ordinary human being, he is never subjected to the rules and regulations of the material world. He is Swarad, or fully independent. He can appear in the material world, but contrary to the offensive conclusion of the Mayavada school, he has no material body. In this connection, one may again refer to the above mentioned verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.11.38. The Supreme Person has an eternal spiritual body. If one tries to distinguish between the body and the soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he commits a great offense.
Brahma Samhita,
Mhm.
it says, Krishna form is Satchidananda,
In the Brahma Samhita, it is said Krishna's form is Satchidananda.
and the Veda, it also says, Krishna is holy of Satchidananda,
In the Rig Veda, it also says Krishna has the qualities of Satchidananda.
he is always spiritual.
He is always spiritual.
He never becomes God.
He
He's always God.
He's always God. He never becomes God. Okay. Thus ends the part 2 of the chapter entitled, part 1 of the chapter entitled, Svarūpa Dāmodara points out the offense of the poet and provides him the remedy. Under the section, how Pradyumna Mishra received instructions from Ramananda Rai.
Understand all the devotees sponsored Bhagavad Gita and other Shastra.
So we'd like to thank the devotees who have sponsored the Bhagavad Gita and other Shastras
On this marathon time,
on this marathon time,
we
on the Gita Jayanti day.
all blessings to you.
All blessings to you. Krishna Matirastu. Also blessings to all the devotees who have joined. Blessings to all the devotees who have joined physically, virtually.
Krishna Matirastu.
Krishna Matirastu.
Krishna Matirastu.
Krishna Matirastu. Some give that.
Yes.
Some devotee.
Yes. Birthdays.
Medini Madhu Mataji, Hare Krishna. Happy birthday. Show yourself, please. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. From Balram Desha Yatra. Okay, Krushita Mataji, Jai Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, happy birthday. Guru Maharaj is blessing you. Siddhantamani Prabhupada Das, Hare Krishna. Okay, Guru Maharaj have sent you a message, Hare Krishna. You can check your mobile, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Okay, honey. Satyaraj, Govinda Prabhu, Achyut Prayasi Tulsi Mataji, wow. Wedding anniversary of, yeah. Vrajapriya Gaurangi Devi Dasi. Whose disciple? Oh, from New York, Gopal Krishna Goswami's disciple. Okay, happy birthday. Jai Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. You remember we met in New Rajapur. Wedding ceremony of Tuli and Kokam. Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj আপনাকে আশীর্বাদ করছেন কৃষ্ণের মতির অস্তু। Huh? I don't.
Yeah, it's in Rajapur.
I don't know.
Where is this?
I don't know, Guru Maharaj. I don't know.
No.
No, Guru Maharaj. We offer you our wedding blessings. Sonali. Hare Krishna, Sonali Dasi Mataji. Guru Maharaj is blessing you. Okay. Hari Bol. Ishani Gauri Priya, Sudevi, Hari Bol, Anuradha Achut Priya Mataji, Rasaraja Nrsimha Prabhu, Rajarishi Mahato Prabhu, Chinmayi Vrajapriya Mataji, where is Dhruva, where is Prabhuji, Balaji, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, okay, Prabhuji, some Sharma, I remember your name, some Joshi, I remember your name, but I forgot. You came to Vrindavan to serve Guru Maharaj, right? Madhumai Shri Lakshmi Mataji, Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj is blessing you, Krishna Mati Rastu, Hari Bol. Nitya Sakhi Radha Devi Dasi, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Sanatani Induleka Mataji, Hare Krishna. Poonam Singha, Deepu, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Uttaravinda Mamatamai Mataji, Hare Krishna, blessings to your whole family. Shivamani Nandarani Mataji, Guru Maharaj is blessing you. Okay, second time, some special blessings. Pujeshwari Radha Mataji, where is Prabhu? Where is your son, daughter? Susevini Guru Goranga Mataji, where are your daughters? Where is Prabhuji? Blessings to all of you, Hare Krishna. Okay, Udharan Gauranga Prabhu, Hare Krishna, marriage anniversary, Hari Bol. Wow, it's a famous picture of Radharani behind there. Prabhumayi Satyavana Brahma Mataji, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Devotees, don't forget there is physical book table. You can buy some books, even though if you have right behind you. Please sponsor also, Hare Krishna. Supriya Jana Mataji, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Oh, Mataji is there in London. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Okay, Hari Bol. Ritika Das Mataji, Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj is blessing you. Krishna Mati Rastu. Vasudeva Nair, Sugamano. Guru Maharaj is blessing you. Hare Krishna. Shantagopi Mataji, Hare Krishna. Yeah, you're showing us you're not bringing it here. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. I'm angry with you. Ipshita Banerjee Mataji, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Guru Maharaj is blessing you. Krishna Mati Rastu. Hare Krishna. Okay. Nanda Kumar Krishna Prabhu is there. Just check. There. 9 months.
Dear devotees, Guru Maharaj is blessing everyone who is present here and in the virtual table. Krishna Vachirodu. Welcome to Guru Maharaj's virtual book table from Sri Mayapur. Gita Jayanti Marathon is in its full swing till 7 January 2023. The world is witnessing the ever-increasing demand and profuse supply of all the recorded conversation that happened 5,000 years ago between two lifelong friends, one being the Supreme Personality of God and the other is the friend and devotee Arjuna. So now let's see the devotees who are fortunate enough to visit the physical book table, those who are before departing from here. That is meant for only you and nobody else. And it's only available for a few more days here. Now let's see the devotees who are fortunate enough to have participated in the book marathon past time of Guru Maharaj today. Seva Padma Devi Dasi from Dāmodara Desh Yatra, 1,200 Bhagavad Gita. Haribo. Mamta Brahma Gita, Ravukula, Prandas from Assam, 1 Bhagavad Gita. Partha Sarati Kulya from Midnapur, 11 Bhagavad Gita. Nandapur Sumukhi Devidasi from Bankur to 1 Bhagavad Gita. Shambhu Karma from Assam, 1 Bhagavad Gita. Sarati from Kolkata, 3 Bhagavad Gita. Singh from Nadi, 10 Bhagavad Gita. Chennai to Bhagavad Gita, Svarūpa, Devidasi, UK, 51 Bhagavad Gita, Amiya, Dev 11 Bhagavad Gita, Arpita Mukundadas, Midnapur, 4 Bhagavad Gita, Ratna Bhalai, Midnapur, 11 Bhagavad Gita, Ashwini Kumar Oja, Mumbai, 5 Bhagavad Gita, Srivani Ram, Andhra Pradesh, 11 Bhagavad Gita, Pintu Ghosh, Bankura, 4 Bhagavad Gita, Jayasri Rajesh Ram, Tamil Nadu, 11 Bhagavad Gita, Nandakumar Govindas, Alipurgar, 8 Bhagavad Gita, Dr. Pradeep Bhattacharya, Chennai, 11 Bhagavad Gita, Tapesh Rai from Howrah, 1 Bhagavad Gita, Viplab Vishwas, Kolkata, 1 Bhagavad Gita. Leelavati Rukmini Devidasi from Kolkata, 11 Bhagavad Gita. Abhay Vishwambar Mishra Das from Mumbai, 21 Bhagavad Gita. Rajesh Ghosh from Midnapur, 9 Bhagavad Gita. Vishwat from UK, 11 Bhagavad Gita. Ratan Bera from Midnapur, 2 Bhagavad Gita. Urjeshwari Radha Devidasi from USA, 30 Bhagavad Gita. Sujata Mataji and Suresh Prabhu from USA, 21 Bhagavad Gita. Mohan Rup Gaur Das and team from Shamdes, 108 Bhagavad Gita. Arpita Dev from Durgapur, 2 Bhagavad Gita. Deepali Rajat from Purulia, 2 Bhagavad Gita. Srimanta Devan, Hooghly, 7 small books. Mausimi Mandal from Hooghly, 1 Bhagavad Gita. Saurav Shol and team from Midnapur, 26 Bhagavad Gita. Tirtha Pran Haridas from Bhagwan, 2 Bhagavad Gita. Prema Mai Satyabhama Devidasi and team from Dāmodara Desh Yatra, 108 Bhagavad Gita. And by team leader Bhagavad Prasad Das from Andhra Pradesh, we have Shivaji Rao 51 Bhagavad Gita, Durga Prasad 11 Bhagavad Gita, Sweta Ganga Sevini Devidasi 108 Bhagavad Gita, Mohan Gopal 11 Bhagavad Gita, Devraj 11 Bhagavad Gita. And then we have by Baladev Karunadas. Here, Honorary Captain Hariom Singh, 1 Chaitanya Charitamrita set. Harendra Singh Chauhan, 1 Chaitanya Charitamrita set. Vikrant Singh, 1 Chaitanya Charitamrita set. And Ankit Singh, 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam. From physical book table, thank you, Rohini Sundari Devidasi, 2 Bhagavad Gita. We have Nitya Sevai Prahlad Krishnadas, 1 Bhagavad Gita. Charani Devidasi and her daughter, 1 Bhagavad Gita. Chaitanya Prayasi Devidasi, 1 Gita. Nitya Narayani Devidasi, 1 Gita. Balachandrachana Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi Balavanda, 4 small book. Gopi Kanta Krishnadas from USA, 2 small book. So, Guru Maharaj is distributing 1,947 Bhagavad Gita Mahabig books and 13 small books, a total of 1,959 Srila Prabhupada transcendental book, including 3 Chaitanya Charitamrita set and 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila transcendental book distribution ki jai. This devotee get a special Narasimha Purana a few hours from now in Sri Dham Mayapur. All of you devotees also, please bless them by calling out Nitai Gauranga. Please pass on this wonderful opportunity of participating in the marathon pastime of Guru Maharaj in distributing Srila Prabhupada books, even if it's a single Bhagavad Gita or even 1 small book. Please do WhatsApp Guru Maharaj's virtual table anytime, 24 hours both day and night at +91 94 34 76 04 02. Stay tuned for tomorrow's Chaitanya class. So let's pray to Lord Sri Krishna for all those who are celebrating their anniversaries today for their well-being and blissful Krishna consciousness. Please stand along with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Thank you very much. All those online devotees, please bring more God brothers and sisters and other devotees into this Chaitanya class. It's rather than the rarest occurrence of hearing our Chaitanya class every day. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande.